Memory is an important human faculty. Just imagine what it would be like if we could not recall anything. We would not remember the results, good or bad, of any of our actions. We could not remember names, or how to walk, or how to do the simplest task. Throughout life, each act, each bit of information would have to be learned as though for the first time, every time we needed to do or know it. Without memory, we would remain like children. The word remember comes from re, again, and memoron, be mindful of. Memory is the original mental note made of every thought, act, or experience when it first occurs. Each memory is recorded in the brain as a particular thought pattern. To remember is to recall to conscious awareness any one of these countless records. All our experiences of past incarnations, as well as those since birth in this life, are present in our subconscious mind. Yet most people do not remember past lives, who they were and where and what they did, or much from the early years of this life. But you can easily recall even minute details of your immediate past, such as what food you had yesterday and where you ate it. A similar total recall of all your myriad experiences in this life and in previous lives would so crowd your conscious mind that you would have no peace. Fortunately, memory is selective, enabling you to remember the salient features of your experiences without having to relive them in complete detail whenever you think of them. Recollection of past lives comes only as you develop a very strong memory. The memory of a spiritually enlightened person operates in an entirely different way from that of the average human being. To illustrate, you are aware of every part of your body without remembering or reproducing that awareness in your consciousness. You do not have to recall the fact that you have a body. You know it because your consciousness is awake throughout your body. Similarly, on a grand scale, God is in everything and everything is in Him. He has no memory. He has no need for memory because He is omnipresent in all past, present, and future experiences. In His eternal conscious awareness, He has nothing past to remember. In my own experience, I find mortal memory fading away. The divine consciousness of my eternal, omnipresent soul nature has become predominant. In this consciousness, all knowledge and perception come to me, not through mental processes or memory, but as intuitive experiences. Memory reproduces in the consciousness those experiences that are past and forgotten. We do not need memory for that which is happening in the now. Here in this temple, as we consciously look around us, we are aware of the windows and drapes and other details of the room. But to see similarly any other part of the temple, we must turn to memory to reproduce whatever we have previously observed there. Because of the predominance of his mortal nature, man is cut off from the universal consciousness and the full potential of his human brain. He remains unaware of his divine intuitive consciousness and has to rely on his all too poorly developed faculty of memory, which cannot even recall all the early experiences of this life, much less past ones. He may remember his childhood home and a few outstanding experiences of that time, but most of what happened then has been forgotten. Of course, some persons remember more than others, because they have developed a greater ability to retain the facts of their experiences. A minister who had lived and preached in Boston for many years had a sudden loss of memory. Oblivious of his name and profession, he moved elsewhere and remained for 3 years in his new environment, working as a grocery clerk. Then one day, he suffered a blow on his head. The shock revived his consciousness in that tract of his brain which was connected with the past, and he remembered his real identity. The memory of your past lives has vanished similarly from your mind. If all the brain cells were awakened, you would be able to remember everything. I recall many of my past incarnations. It is not mere belief. One can test such memories of the past, and I have verified these recollections. Quite a few people have heard me mention a previous life in which I lived for many years in England. Experiences of that life come clearly to my mind. There were certain details about the Tower of London that I remembered very well, and when I went there in 1935, I saw that those places were exactly as I had seen them within. From childhood, I knew also that in one incarnation I had lived by the ocean. As a little boy, I used to see in my mind's eye many places and events of that incarnation. When I spoke of these things, some laughed at me, but they don't laugh now. I was able to prove to them that those past life experiences I had seen inwardly as a child were factual. If you are calm and concentrate deeply enough to attain the state of cosmic consciousness, you can recall the very faint etchings of all past experiences, for every one has been recorded in your brain. The habits you cultivated in past lives have substantially created your physical, mental, and emotional makeup in this life. You have forgotten those habits, but they have not forgotten you. Out of the crowded centuries of your experiences, your karma follows you. And whenever you are reborn, that karma, consisting of all your past thoughts and actions and habits, creates the kind of physical form you will have. Not only your appearance, but your personality traits. It is these individually created past life patterns that make one person different from another and account for the great variety of human faces and characteristics. The very fact that you are a woman or a man was determined by your self-chosen tendencies in previous lives. Most people do not analyze themselves, and so never realize how bound they are by influences of past actions. Day in and day out, they remain in the same physical and mental ruts. When you say, "I like this," and "I don't like that," it is because certain experiences in the past help to create an affinity for the one and a distaste for the other. In the ashram of my guru in India, Master taught us to be guided by wisdom, not by likes and dislikes. Begin to analyze yourselves more, to understand why you are as you are. You may have noticed that some children are born with certain moods and habits. They brought these tendencies from the past, for in this life, they have not yet had time to form such patterns of behavior. From childhood, I was interested in creating buildings. My first attempt at construction in this life was the renovation of a little mud hut in Calcutta when I was a young boy. This interest was prominent because I had done much building during my incarnation in England. So many experiences I recall from other times. Although I had never learned anything about music in this life, I have played many Indian instruments and have been told I would make a fine musician. This aptitude is a result of knowledge carried over from the past. If you analyze yourself, you also will recall tendencies of early childhood that are indicative of a previous life. Habits can be differentiated between those created in this life and those brought from past lives. Most habits created in this life are results of the influence of past life habits. In this incarnation, I nurtured only those habits that were good. By constantly watching and correcting myself from early childhood, I was able to throw off bad habits from the past and become free. Through the right use of memory, we can reproduce those experiences of our past lives that are beneficial for the increase of knowledge in this life. Remembering the good and bad effects of past experiences, we are better able to discriminate and get rid of habits that are causing us pain and sorrow in this life. We should all be able to do this. Side by side in man's memory are the good and bad habits he has created. They are all present in his brain, whether he remembers them or not. Every time you do good to someone, the memory of it is stored in your brain. And every time you do harm to someone, this likewise is added to your mental storehouse. Anything you have consciously done to others, good or bad, will be remembered. Your present actions are unconsciously influenced by these past actions. When a good person with good habits from the past performs a good act, the influence of his past goodness causes that action immediately to become a good habit. Similarly, when a wicked person performs a wrong act, the reinforcing influence of his past evil habits causes that action immediately to become a bad habit. Make up your mind to rid yourself of bad tendencies brought from the past, as well as those created in this life. Try to remember only your good deeds. Even a little bit of goodness, no matter in what incarnation performed, is never lost to you. Use those good memories to influence your present actions. Remind others, also, of their potential goodness. Avoid dwelling on all the wrong things you have done. They do not belong to you now. Let them be forgotten. It is attention that creates habit and memory. As soon as you put the needle on a phonograph record, it begins to play. Attention is the needle that plays the record of past actions. So you should not put your attention on bad ones. Why go on suffering over the unwise actions of your past? Cast their memory from your mind, and take care not to repeat those actions again. Reflection on negative things is not the purpose of man's God-given memory. Some people go on remembering all the suffering they passed through and how terrible the pain was from an operation that took place 20 years ago. Over and over again, they relive the consciousness of that sickness. Why repeat such experiences? To deliberately recall painful or evil experiences is a misuse of memory and a sin against your soul. By nurturing unpleasant memories, you will carry them into the future, and this is not good for you. If you feel a deep resentment towards some person, and every day you recall that feeling and retaliate by mentally striking him, it will take you incarnations to erase the remembrance of that hatred. To become the victim of a memory filled with ugly recollections is dangerous. Cultivate forgetfulness of past wrongs and vengeful feelings, and encourage only the remembrance of good. Few people in this world try consciously to develop the potentials of body, mind, and soul. The rest are victims of circumstances of the past. They plod on, pushed by past wrong habits, helplessly going down under their influence, remembering only, "I am a nervous man," or "I am a weakling," or "I am a sinner," and so on. It lies with each one of us to cut with the sword of wisdom the cords of our bondage, or to remain bound. God has given everyone freedom to act as he will. Never impose your will on anyone else, but if you would persuade someone to do what you humbly believe to be best for him, influence him by love. When Mahatma Gandhi was in South Africa, he was stabbed and lay near death. The officials naturally wanted to prosecute his assailant, but Gandhi refused. "No," he said, "if I put him in prison, he will be a greater enemy. I will win him by love." When the attacker learned of Gandhi's forgiveness, he became his disciple. Nearly everyone is familiar with those three little monkey figures that depict the maxim, "See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil." I emphasize the positive approach. See that which is good, hear that which is good, speak that which is good, and smell, taste, and feel that which is good. Think that which is good, love that which is good. Be enthroned in the castle of goodness, and your memories will be like beautiful flowers in a garden of noble dreams. If you continuously add to the good things you can remember, you will in time remember the greatest good, which you have forgotten, and that is God. In the awakened memory of him lies the key to freedom. Use your memory to recall what you are, an immortal soul, and forget the evil memory of mortality. This is why self-realization teaches you to constantly remember the truth. You are spirit. Every morning, repeat to yourself, "I am not the body of flesh. I want to remember my real soul nature, invisible and formless spirit." In the daytime, your habits perpetuate the false memory of your limited physical being, but at night, the heavenly angel of sleep reminds you of your formless divine being. God gives you sleep, in which you blissfully lose all consciousness of body and form, to remind you that you are spirit, and your nature is bliss. It is true that man's mental capacities are inherited according to his past karma, but memory can be cultivated. Various practices help to improve this faculty. Diet plays an important role. Fresh milk and milk curd, yogurt, are conducive to keen memory. Overeating adversely affects it. An excess of fat in the diet impairs digestion and ultimately affects memory. Fried and fatty foods may be eaten once in a while, but only in moderation. Strictly avoid pork or pork products. Memory can be ruined by their excessive use. Perhaps you are thinking, "I eat pork products, but I still have a good memory." My response is that you have brought that good memory from the past. Continued regular consumption of pork will undo it. Cold showers are beneficial to the memory and to the nerves. Cooling the nerves helps to promote mental calmness. A calm mind becomes an instrument for reproducing experiences clearly. To be overactive sexually is detrimental to memory, draining its power more than any other factor. Those who have self-control can develop tremendous power of memory, tremendous power of mind. An example of this was the extraordinary memory of Sir Isaac Newton, who lived as a celibate. Memory can also be developed by making a conscious effort to recall things you have learned or known. Try to recollect details of past experiences. It is helpful also to add and subtract figures mentally. Unfortunately, many people never exercise their memory in these ways. Another method for developing the power of memory is to gently tap the top of the head with the knuckles. Learn to do everything with deep attention and concentration But do not be like those people who apply such concentration that they become overly fastidious, nagging, and fussing about unimportant details. Most people perform their duties absent-mindedly. They do not always know what they are doing. Writing poetry or prose develops memory. As a rule, you are able to recall quickly what you have written because you have put much feeling and attention into it. The stimulation of feeling that accompanies some experiences helps you to remember them. Whatever you have done or experienced with deep emotion, you easily recollect. Even a man of poor memory recalls his sorrows. Last of all, make it a point to recall only good things of the past. Never misuse your memory to bring evil thoughts into the temple of your consciousness. Keep that temple holy with the remembrance of God. Allow not the robbers of evil memories to enter this inner sanctuary. Open it only to angels of goodness. There is happiness in the divine soul temple within you. There is goodness there, and loyalty, hope, courage, peace, and joy. All these qualities you can garner in your temple within by remembering only the good. If you keep your brain, your mind, your body filled with happy memories, the greatest good of all, God will come and remain with you. Remembering only the good experiences of the past, you shall eventually remember your oneness with Spirit. You will remember that you have come down from Spirit into this flesh, into this little cage of bones, which is a prison of disease and trouble. Get away from mortal consciousness. Remember in meditation that you are one with the vast Spirit. Go on remembering and expanding that remembrance. There is no end to your consciousness. All things are glittering like stars in the firmament of your being. Suddenly, you will find that your memory has subtly become intuition, the infallible insight of the soul. You no longer have to make the effort to remember anything because memory has metamorphosed into all-knowing, omnipresent intuition. In that omniscient light of divine recollection, you shall not only remember, you shall realize that you are the infinite Spirit.